Hello and welcome to Spectrum News, the news this week, a recap of major news stories within the week. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari attends Liberia's 175th independence anniversary. Terrorist attacks troops of Presidential Guards Brigade in Abuja. Plus, Akwa Ibom Governor Domimaniel donates SUV others to police. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First in the news within the week is a report that President Muhammadu Buhari was in Liberia to attend the country's 175th independence anniversary celebrations. The senior special assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, confirmed this in a statement, saying President Buhari, who was the special guest of honor at the event, joined other world leaders and organizations to rejoice with the people of Liberia at the event. Reports say after participating in the independence program, President Buhari returned to the country later in the day. Recall that Nigeria played a leading role in the stabilization of the West African nation in the early 90s, leading to the establishment of democratic rule, and has continued to assist the country in many ways, especially through the Technical Aids Corps scheme. Accompanying the president on his trip were the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, and Director General National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Abubakar, amongst others. Meanwhile, President Buhari praised the outgoing president of the Economic Community of West African States Commission, Jean-Claude Brault, for showing great commitment to the unity of the bloc and the West African sub-region. President Buhari said this during a farewell audience with Brault at the State House Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The president's message was made known in a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina. The statement was titled, President Buhari thanks Kasi Brault for United ECOWAS. In the meantime, President Buhari has appointed the Deputy Corps Marshal Finance and Accounts, Federal Road Safety Corps, Dauda Biu, as acting Corps Marshal as Boboyo Oyeyemi bowed out of service. The former FRC Corps Marshal Oyeyemi made this known while handing over at the FRC headquarters in Abuja. This was contained in a statement by the Corps Public Education Officer, Assistant Corps Marshal B.C. Kazim in Abuja. Oyeyemi wished the acting Corps Marshal a successful tenure as he assumed office. On security matters now, President Buhari reaffirmed his administration's commitment to tackle the nation's security challenges, saying he will ensure bandits and terrorists wreaking havoc in several parts of the country are crushed. In a statement by his spokesman, Garba Shehu, the president said the service chiefs had been kept on their toes to ensure that banditry and terrorism were decisively addressed. He also sympathized with former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Adamu Muazu, over the killing of his brother and abduction of his sister by bandits. The president's reassurance came hours after terrorists released a video where they were flogging victims of the March 28 attack on a Kaduna-bound train. The terrorists were also seen threatening to kill the victims if the federal government failed to meet up with their demands. Meanwhile, the federal government ordered immediate closure of Federal Government College Kwali, located in Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Minister of Education Adamu gave the directive in a statement by the Director Press and Public Relations of the Ministry, Ben Gong, in Abuja. According to the minister, the timely intervention of security agencies saved the situation. Adamu also directed that arrangements be put in place for final year students to conclude their Senior School Certificate Examination (SSCE), organized by the National Examinations Council (NECO). The minister also directed principals of unity colleges across the country to liaise with security agencies within their jurisdictions to forestall any security breach in the unity schools. Away from that, the presidency has called the bluff of senators from opposition parties who issued a 6-week ultimatum to President Muhammadu Buhari to tackle the security challenges bedeviling the country. Now recall that the lawmakers staged a walkout from the Senate and threatened to commence impeachment proceedings against President Buhari should he fail to address the insecurity within the period given by the lawmakers. Reacting to the development on a televised program, presidential spokesman Femi Adesina said the statesmen were merely playing to the gallery. He added that there was not much they would do after what he called the drama which played out in the upper chamber. Still from the legislature, Senate confirmed Mohammed Bello as chairman, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Bello's confirmation was sequel to the consideration of a report by the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs. Chairman of the committee, Senator Olubunmi Adetunbi, in his presentation said the available documents and the presentation made to the committee that the nominee satisfies the requirement for appointment as the chairman of Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC. He added that the nominee is very well experienced and adequately exposed at the top levels of government administration and has acquired the capacity to function as chairman. It is disclosed that there were no petitions against the nominee and no objections raised from the senators from his state of origin for his nomination. Meanwhile, a bill seeking to include teachings against breast and cervical cancers into the curriculum of all senior secondary schools in Nigeria had gone through second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, which is sponsored by the Chairman, House Committee on Health Care Services, Tanko Sununu, and co-sponsored by the Chairman, House Committee on Basic Education, Professor Julius Ihovere, is part of the OCI Foundation's arm Our Youth's Anti-Cancer Health Campaign, an initiative targeting youths in Nigerian senior secondary schools and the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. Already in partnership with Nigeria NYSC, the OCI Foundation is annually delivering the same anti-cancer campaign to hundreds of thousands of Nigerian fresh graduates, youth corps members in all the 37 NYSC orientation camps in Nigeria. The ROI Health Campaign enjoys the support of the First Lady Aisha Buhari, whose NGO, the Future Assured Foundation, is partnering with the OCI Foundation on the bill. In the meantime, 36 state governors in Nigeria within the week called for review of the reintroduced National Water Resources Bill. The resolution was reached at the teleconference meeting of the Nigeria Governors Forum. In a circular issued, chairman of the forum and Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi said the bill should be reviewed to accommodate the concerns of all states. The governors argued that the bill does not adequately address the interests of the states and is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They said the bill should be reviewed with a view to accommodating the concerns of all states. Away from that, troops of the 7 Guards Brigade, which provide security for the Presidential Villa and the Federal Capital Territory FCT, were reportedly attacked by gunmen suspected to be terrorists. Reports say they were ambushed while on patrol along the Kubwa-Buari Road in the nation's capital. A spokesperson for the Guards Brigade, Captain Godfrey Abapa, confirmed the incident, noting that the attack was successfully repelled by the troops. Captain Abapa said a few of the men who were wounded in action have been taken to a hospital where they were receiving treatment, adding that the troops were combing the general area to get rid of the criminals who have been threatening the area. He advised residents of Abuja to go about their lawful businesses and keep cooperating with the military by providing timely information to enable them curb the activities of the criminals. On security matters, the defense headquarters in Abuja said military troops have eliminated 30 terrorists who attacked troops of the Guards Brigade in the Buari area of the Federal Capital Territory FCT on Sunday. Recall that military personnel were attacked while returning from the Nigerian Law School where they had gone to discuss security issues with the management of the school. 2 senior officers were ambushed and killed in the process. However, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Bernard Onyoko, during a bi-weekly news conference on military operations in Abuja, said the operation was conducted by troops of 7 Guards Battalion and 167 Special Forces Battalion in conjunction with the air component of Operation Well Punch between Sunday and Tuesday. According to him, the troops successfully cleared Kawu and Ido villages, neutralizing the terrorists and destroying their enclave and hideout. He said the ground troops also recovered 6 motorcycles, 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 fully loaded LMG magazine, amongst others, during the mop-up. Away from that, Nigeria Labour Congress NLC has warned that the federal government should brace for a 3-day nationwide strike across all sectors if the crisis in the nation's public universities is left unresolved. Recall that scores of unions in various critical sectors such as aviation, petroleum, among others, affiliated with the labor union, went on a solidarity protest with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, who have been on strike for over 5 months. NLC President Ayuba Waba gave the warning during a televised interview amid the protests by members of the union across the country. Highlighting the importance of the protest, he said the protest was first to show the workers' concern and to also call for urgent action to resolve the issues. Back here, the Akwa Ibom State branch of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC has said the enough is enough statement by the Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari should be matched with the actions of meeting ASUU's demands so the union can permanently end the strike action in the Nigerian university system and so that students can return to school. Speaking at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly grounds, where members of affiliate labor unions converged to kickstart the 2-day nationwide protest announced by the national leadership of NLC in solidarity with the striking ASUU members, NLC Chairman of Akwa Ibom State Branch Sunday James had this to say.
Not people with gun and AK-47. We are going to invite.
In a separate development, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udomi Manio donated another set of 10 security patrol vehicles equipped with communications gadgets for the State Police Command. This brings to 45 the total number of operational vehicles donated to the police in the state by the present administration. Governor Manio, who shared this while receiving the new Commissioner of Police in the state, Olatoye Durosimi, who was at Government House, Uyo, on a courtesy visit, said his administration had also procured 18 gunboats to boost security in the riverine areas of the state. The governor further commended the new Commissioner of Police for the innovations introduced in policing of the state and effective collaboration with other security agencies in securing the area since his assumption of duties in the state. Speaking earlier, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Durosimi, said he has intensified patrols in all parts of Akwa Ibom to detect and prevent crime in the area. The Commissioner of Police lauded the state governor for his support to the command and assured of the readiness of the police to work round the clock to sustain the peace currently being enjoyed in the state. He was accompanied on the visit by heads of units of the State Police Command. In another development, the Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom State, Justice Akaito Boat, has committed human rights lawyer Nibege Ifyong to the State Correctional Center for 1 month over perceived contempt of court. Before ordering the conviction warrant, Justice Obot said the lawyer would need the correctional facility to purge himself of his alleged excesses and unruly behaviors that bring the court to disrepute. Ifyong is reportedly the defense counsel to Liu Weipeng in the case of libel by Governor Udom Emmanuel. Still in Akwa Ibom State, the head of Enlightenment National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons (NAPTIP), Uyo Zonal Command Ben Esang, has called for collaborative efforts
the day set aside by the United Nations
trafficking in the state, as Akwa Ibom State has high prevalent rate of human trafficking. Esang said this while speaking with Spectrum Television on the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons set aside by the United Nations to raise awareness and mitigate what they term modern-day slavery. A correspondent has the rest of the report.
Nations to raise awareness, encourage vigilance, and gain support for prevention of human trafficking. Speaking on the significance of this year's theme, Use and Abuse of Technology, Head of Public Enlightenment, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Uyo Zonal Command, Ben Esang, said technology has evolved into being used to aid and impede human trafficking.
Use and abuse of technology. It talks about ways technology can be used to, curtail human trafficking. While on the other hand, it also talks about ways the criminals, the traffickers, are using technology to deceive their victims, lure their victims into slavery and abuse and exploitation, which is the key element of human trafficking.
He noted that Akwa Ibom State has high incidence of human trafficking and enumerated what NAPTIP is doing to prevent it.
Akwa Ibom State falls under those states that are endemic in all sense of the word trafficking, human trafficking. I mean, we have high incidences of sales of persons here, and in this case, babies. And we have a shelter in part of town here where we keep our victims, and in that shelter, they're being catered for. They have counselors, they have nurses, they have people that attend to them, and we basically keep them there for a period just to make sure we talk to them and get them finally reintegrated into the society.
Esang called on well-meaning Nigerians to support the prevention and combating of human trafficking in the states and Nigeria as a whole. Ididio Martin, reporting for Spectrum Television.
Still to come in the news. IMF warns global recession may be imminent as inflation surge. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Moving on now to Africa, where at least 5 people died and 50 others were injured during protests against the United Nations in the city of Goma in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The protests, called by the government's youth wing, turned violent when demonstrators stormed the mission's local headquarters and a logistical base. There have been chaotic scenes of burning and looting, as one graphic image shared on social media shows a protester lying on the ground as others shout that he has been shot dead by the UN forces. Reports say the UN forces fired live bullets to prevent protesters from attacking the premises. Meanwhile, the UN forces have been deployed to the volatile region, where there are more than 100 active rebel groups for more than 2 decades. Recall that 3 weeks ago, the country's 2 leaders agreed on a de-escalation process in eastern DR Congo. Still in Africa, 8 children, a teacher and a driver died after a minibus ferrying them to primary school fell into a roadside ditch in southern Tanzania. According to police chief of the Mtwara region, Nicodemus Katembo, 19 other pupils from King David School were injured in the accident. Reports say the injured were treated at the Mtwara Referral Hospital, adding that the authorities are investigating the cause of the accident. Meanwhile, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan sent condolences to the families of the deceased. Still within the week, Mozambique's former labor minister Maria Taipo was sentenced to 16 years in prison for corruption charges involving the diversion of more than $1.7 million from government funds. Other government officials were sentenced alongside her. The defendants were charged with the crimes of embezzlement, breach of trust, abuse of power, economic participation in business, and forgery of documents. The crimes were committed between 2014 and 2015. Well, reports say the money that was stolen was used to, among other things, purchase 50 bicycles, the construction of a house, parties, and end-of-the-year hampers. In the meantime, South Africa officially requested the extradition of 2 Gupta brothers currently in the United Arab Emirates on charges of money laundering and fraud. South African Justice Minister Ronald Lamola said Atul Gupta and Rajesh Gupta, commonly known as the Gupta brothers, are accused persons in 2 criminal matters by the United Arab Emirates. Reports say the brothers were arrested in Dubai in June 2022 on the basis of an Interpol red notice launched by Pretoria. They are accused of having looted the country with the complicity of former President Jacob Zuma. Director of National Prosecuting Authority in South Africa, Shanila Batohi, assured that the investigative directorate is working with relevant stakeholders to ensure that all the cases have the necessary resources and good support from the Department of Justice, adding that the extradition could take several months.
All the cases have the necessary resources. We've had good support from the Department of Justice. We're working very, very well. The ID is working extremely well now with relevant stakeholders.
The matter relating to the Gupta brothers, the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Atul Kumar Gupta and Mr. Rajay Kumar Gupta, the Gupta, commonly known as the Gupta brothers, are accused persons in 2 criminal matters.
Still in the course of the week, Cameroon welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron on his first trip to Africa since his re-election last April, in a visit that would also include Benin Republic and Guinea-Bissau. The visit came at a time when France was looking to renovate its military partnerships on the continent to maintain its strategic competition in the face of increasing influence by Turkey, China, and Russia. Reports say Macron's visit to Cameroon is to warm up its relations and strengthen its support as the country plays a strategic role in Central Africa. In the meantime, French President Emmanuel Macron criticized African leaders' response to the Ukraine war during a press conference in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Macron hit out at what he referred to as the hypocrisy, particularly on the African continent, that denied that the Ukraine conflict was a war. Some African countries have reportedly held back from outrightly criticizing Russia's aggression in Ukraine. Macron, who was speaking alongside Cameroonian President Paul Biya, also said the only solution to Cameroon's Anglophone crisis was decentralization. On the foreign scene now, Russia will be leaving the International Space Station after 2024 amid tensions with the West, in a move analysts warn could lead to a halt to manned flights. The confirmation of the long-mooted move comes as ties unravel between the Kremlin and the West over Moscow's military intervention in Ukraine and several rounds of devastating sanctions against Russia, including its space sector. Space experts said the departure from the International Space Station would seriously affect the country's space sector and deal a major blow to the program of manned flights, which is a major source of Russian pride. In the meantime, Ukraine hopes to resume grain exports from its Black Sea ports under an unbrokered deal aimed at easing global food shortages. Senior government officials told a news conference they hoped the first grain shipment under the agreement would be from the port of Chornomorsk within the week, and that shipments could be made from all ports included under the deal within 2 weeks. Infrastructure Minister Alexander Kubrakov said there were no limits on how much grain could be exported under the agreement reached last Friday, which also allows the export and import of fertilizers. Still within the week in India, Draupadi Murmu was sworn in as president, making her the first person from one of the country's marginalized tribal communities to serve as head of state. The former school teacher and state governor was elected to the largely ceremonial position last week with 64% of the vote by members of India's parliament and state assemblies. Murmu, who is from the Santhal tribe and was born in eastern Odisha state, paid her respects before her inauguration at a memorial dedicated to India's independence hero Mahatma Gandhi in New Delhi. Analysts say Murmu's win will probably help Prime Minister Narendra Modi extend his base among the poor tribal communities ahead of his re-election bid in 2024. Away from that, U.S. Justice Department is examining Donald Trump's actions in connection with efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Federal prosecutors have reportedly asked witnesses directly about the behavior of the former U.S. president. So far, they have chosen not to open a formal criminal investigation into Trump himself, as no former U.S. president has ever been indicted for criminal conduct. It will be recalled that rioters had stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021 in an effort to overturn the president's election defeat. Meanwhile, the United States is preparing for China's angry response over its support for Taiwan, a self-governing island that Beijing claims as its own territory. Last week, China warned against a potential high-stakes trip by U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taipei. Following reports of Pelosi's plans, China's foreign ministry has reportedly vowed to take resolute and forceful measures if the trip goes ahead. U.S. President Joe Biden has told reporters that the U.S. military thinks a Taiwan visit by Pelosi is not a good idea right now. However, Pelosi said it's important to show support for Taiwan, but declined to discuss any travel plans, citing security. Although China has not disclosed what forceful measures it is planning to take, some Chinese experts say Beijing's reaction could involve a military component, as the situation between China and the U.S. will be very tense. On our business news, surging inflation and severe slowdowns in the United States and China has prompted the IMF to downgrade its outlook for the global economy this year and next, while giving an even starker assessment of what may lie ahead. According to IMF chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gourinchas, the outlook has darkened significantly since April. He added that the world may soon be teetering on the edge of a global recession, only 2 years after the last one. Meanwhile, the world's three largest economies, the United States, China, and the Euro area, are stalling, with important consequences for the global outlook. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) retained projected economic growth of 3.4% for Nigeria in 2022. The Washington-based institution disclosed this in its World Economic Outlook (WEO) for July 2022. It explained that the outlook for countries in the Middle East and Central Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, such as Nigeria, remained unchanged or positive due to elevated fossil fuel and metal prices for some commodity exporting countries. IMF, however, projected that the global economy would slow further to 3.2% in the year and 2.9% in 2023. Still in business, the founder of satellite company Starlink, Elon Musk, has revealed when the company's operation will start in Nigeria, as the firm prepares to compete against MTN Nigeria, Airtel, Globacom, and Nine Mobile. Musk, via his Twitter account, disclosed that Starlink service will commence next month, August 2022, in Nigeria, 3 months after the world's richest man informed his 102 million followers on Twitter that the government had approved its operation. The company is currently operational in 36 countries with 1,469 active satellites in operation as of January's report, serving over 400,000 subscribers globally. However, it expects 4,200 satellites in operation within 18 months, as disclosed by Musk in March 2022. Still within the week, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, disbursed 68.13 billion naira to beneficiaries under its 100 for 100 policy on production and productivity since the commencement of the intervention. The CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele disclosed this in Lagos after the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, noting that the bank has released 9.98 billion naira for 5 projects, bringing the cumulative disbursements under the intervention to 68.13 billion naira for 48 projects, comprising 26 in manufacturing, 17 in agriculture, 3 in healthcare, and 2 in the services sector. According to the guidelines for the implementation of the initiative, the CBN fixed the maximum loan amount that a participant could get at 5 billion naira. The Apex Bank said the initiative would be implemented in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, with a focus on micro and macroeconomic impacts in terms of contribution to GDP and exports, sustainable jobs created, local content development, production output, capacity utilization, and integration into the global value chain. Still in business, Naira fell significantly against the US dollar at the official market, a day after the currency recorded a meager gain at the spot market. According to data published on the FMDQ website, where Forex is officially traded, Naira, which opened at 427 Naira 30 kobo, closed at 431 Naira to a dollar on Tuesday. This represents a 3 Naira 87 kobo on 0.90% devaluation from 427 Naira 17 kobo it exchanged in the previous session on Monday. In the meantime, the Senate said it will summon the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, over inflation and Naira devaluation. The lawmakers observed that the development had led Nigerians to more hardship. They lamented that the United States dollar to Naira had now risen to 700 Naira in the parallel market, which calls for immediate attention. Meanwhile, there are indications that multiple checkpoints and extortion of truckers are pushing importers and other investors to neighboring countries' ports, thereby depriving Nigeria of the opportunity to earn income. The chairman of the Association of Maritime Truck Owners, Amato Remi Ogungbemi, stated this at a stakeholders meeting organized by the Maritime Anti-Corruption Network (MACN) held in Lagos. Ogungbemi emphasized that multiple checkpoints along the port corridors have also led to financial loss and bankruptcy on the part of importers and truckers, arising from the diversion of containers and cargo and trucks. He said there is also an increase in prices of imported commodities arising from unauthorized payments at multiple checkpoints and extortion along the port's corridor. Still to come in the news. Commonwealth Games, Diana Asher-Smith withdraws with light hamstring strain. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now in health, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) confirmed 16 new positive cases of monkeypox from 12 states. According to the latest update, Rivers has 3 infections, Anambra 2, Oyo 2, Taraba 1, Lagos 1, Imo 1, Edo 1, Gombe 1, Delta 1, Bayelsa 1, Akwa Ibom 1, and Bauchi 1. The NCDC said 3 deaths were recorded in Delta, Lagos, and Ondo states. In the meantime, the federal government says it has developed a national strategic framework for eliminating viral hepatitis in the country by 2030. The federal government said the framework is in line with the global health sector strategy for viral hepatitis control. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja in commemoration of the 2022 World Hepatitis Day, the Minister of Health, Dr. Sagye Ehanire, said Nigeria is one of the first countries to have achieved this in a short time. Ehanire said nearly 20 million people are infected with hepatitis B or C. According to him, viral hepatitis remains a public health threat, especially hepatitis B and C, which causes chronic infection with attendant morbidity and mortality. He, however, said despite the significant rates of infection, there is very low awareness about the infection and called on Nigerians to get tested. Meanwhile, Minister of Health Dr. Sagye Ehanire says Nigeria is to begin production of hepatitis vaccines to eliminate the disease in the country. The minister stated this in Abuja at the flag-off of the 2022 World Hepatitis Day with the theme, Bringing Hepatitis Care Closer to You. Ehanire noted that the spread of hepatitis was similar to HIV, which is fueled by unsafe sexual behavior and infection practices, unsafe blood transfusion, harmful practices such as sharing of sharp objects for scarification marks, tattoos, and mother-to-child transmission. Still in health, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has said 162 Nigerians died from Lassa fever since the beginning of the year 2022. The agency also stated that the number of new confirmed cases reduced from 13 in week 27 to 5 cases. The NCDC announced this in its weekly situation report on the outbreak of the disease in the country. Data from the latest situation report for week 28, which covered July 11 through 17, show that there are 5,756 suspected cases of the infection across 99 local government areas in 24 states. Now in sports, 9 years after footballer Neymar moved from Brazil to Barcelona, he faces trial for alleged irregularities surrounding the transfer. In a legal saga that has dragged on for years, the Brazilian international, who now plays for Paris Saint-Germain, is accused of fraud and corruption. The trial is due to take place for 2 weeks from 17th October, a month before the World Cup in Qatar. Several other figures are also due to stand trial. According to Spanish reports, 2 former presidents of Barcelona Football Club, Josep Maria Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell, as well as Neymar's parents, face the same allegations. Meanwhile, all those involved in the case have long denied the allegations made by investment fund DIS, which argued it was entitled to 40% of Neymar's 2013 transfer fee when he left Brazilian club Santos. Still in sports, Borussia Dortmund striker Sebastian Haller will reportedly be out for a few months after having surgery on a testicular tumor. Recall that the 28-year-old Ivory Coast forward was diagnosed last week during the team's pre-season training camp in Switzerland. Dortmund sporting director Sebastian Kehl said he had a successful operation last week. Recall that Haller joined the Bundesliga side from Ajax earlier this month for €31 million after a short spell at West Ham. Still in the course of the week, England's Diana Asher-Smith withdrew from the Commonwealth Games with a light hamstring strain. Asher-Smith pulled up with the injury while competing for Great Britain in the women's 4x100-meter relay final at the World Championships on Monday. Reports say she had won And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News, a recap of major news stories within the week. My name is Xavier Robert. Do enjoy the weekend. Bye.